All right, welcome to Hannity. We begin tonight with a Fox News alert, and we are back with our live audience right here in New York City, the only people that are normal in New York. In just a moment, mayhem in the Windy City, shootings, murder, assault, anarchy in the streets of our entire country almost. A great American city is dying literally right before our eyes. It is not the only city now on the verge of destruction. Shocking video straight ahead. Plus, coming up, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy will join us with details surrounding the nightmare that is Joe Biden at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, 8:57 a.m. They called the lid on the day. Joe was done. He was tired. He just got back from vacation. He had to visit castles. Anyway, today marks the 100th day that Kevin McCarthy has been Speaker. We will remind you of the promises he made to become Speaker, and we will tell you the promises he has kept. We are going to hold elected officials accountable. Plus, we will talk to the great one. Any Mark Levin fans here? About the Biden family business. It was not just Hunter who turned a profit by selling access to Pops and giving half his income to Pops. We have new developments tonight that are huge. We'll break that news. Also, Jimmy Fallon, Kayleigh McEnany, they will be here in studio with more on the panic, the full-blown panic at Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch as sales now plummet even further. We'll have full analysis, by the way, of Tucker's interview with Elon Musk. Listen to this shocking revelation.
The degree to which various government agencies had effectively had full access to everything that was going on Twitter blew my mind.
They have full access, even your direct messages, private messages between you and somebody else. Texas Senator Ted Cruz will weigh in straight ahead. But first, we begin with this top story tonight. In New York City, explosive hearings revealing the ugly truth about House Democrats. They do not care about you, the American people, and your life. Now today, Jim Jordan, who is the House Judiciary Committee chairman, paid a visit to the city to hear from real victims of serious crimes, families that lost loved ones, and for good reason. Because while DA Alvin Bragg is spending, massive amounts of money, time, resources, going after one man, one organization, one family, the Trump family, 34 counts of nothing, no specific crimes barely mentioned, but actually violent offenders. They are roaming the streets with victims and their families being treated like garbage. Watch this.
My son, Sergeant Hassan Korea, Afghanistan War retired veteran, was killed in Harlem in 2018. Hassan was kicked, punched, stomped, and stabbed 9 times by 4 individuals he did not know, nor had he done them any harm. When Alvin Bragg came into office, he was handed a strong, trial-ready murder case and gang assault case against all 4 of these individuals, where this brutal, savage homicide was captured on video. He was handed a strong trial-ready case, ready to go to trial. As soon as he took office, the case immediately began to unravel. And as far as the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, if he's receiving 1 penny of federal dollars, you need to pull that funding until he starts doing his damn job and prosecuting crime. Thank you, Madam. I was totally disrespected. Me, my family, my grandchildren, we were treated like garbage. Like garbage.
Wow. Madeline Brame will join us right here in the studio in just a moment. Now, her son was an Army vet. Hassan Korea was his name, was stabbed to death on the streets of New York City. His father, also seriously wounded during the attack, continues to deal with life-altering injuries. Now, according to a statement from Bragg's office, none of the 4 perpetrators received the maximum sentence. Not one of the 4. Mary Saunders gets 1 year in jail, already out of prison. Travis Stewart received just 7 years. The other 2 felons could be out in far less than 20 years after murdering somebody with a knife and nearly killing yet another person. You proud of that, Alvin Bragg? Now, of course, New York City Congressman Jerry Nadler, the dope that he is, just doesn't seem to care. Take a look.
Ms. Brame, you failed to note that as a result of DA Bragg's prosecution, 2 men are currently serving life sentences for the murder of your son.
Mr. Jordan, I'm sorry. If Mr. Nadler is going to make derogatory comments towards the mother of a homicide victim, he could at least allot her some time to respond.
Sergeant Hassan Korea is dead forever. Dead forever. There are 4 people directly responsible for his murder. 2 people is not justice.
Now, this is not uncommon. Under Bragg, 52% of all felony cases, they are reduced to misdemeanors. And predictably, violent crime is on the rise. Look at this on your screen. Robbery up 5%, felony assault 15%, burglary up 7%, car theft up another 5%. The murder rate is still higher than pre-pandemic levels. But the Democrats at today's hearing, they didn't want to talk about any of that. Instead, can you guess what they were obsessed with? They wanted to talk about Donald Trump. Right there, high in their ivory towers, these Democrats treated today's witnesses and these victims like inconvenient deplorables. The way these Democrats behaved was grotesque and unhinged. Congressman Hank Johnson even referring to the victims, people that lost their loved ones, as props for jackbooted thugs in the Republican Party. You think I'm making it up? I'm not. Take a look.
Like jackbooted thugs. They've descended on New York City using violent crime as their pretext. The MAGA Republican extremists are not interested in gun violence or even knife violence. The Republican witnesses who have used their time to criticize District Attorney Bragg have served as props in a MAGA Broadway production.
The pompous indignation from Democrats was so outrageous that some New Yorkers in the crowd, they had had enough. Take a look.
It is the GOP leadership in Congress doing what it has done best for the last 6 years, and that is to act as the criminal defense counsel for Donald J. Trump. Well, let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Capitol Police, gentlemen, will suspend. Capitol Police. Capitol Police will remove the gentleman from the audience.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
Gentlemen.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this.
There's probably one of the biggest jackasses in all of Washington, D.C., and that's saying a lot. These Democrats don't care about justice. They don't care about safety, security, your pursuit of happiness. They only care about politics, hating Donald Trump. What does Donald Trump have to do with safety, security in New York and prosecuting criminals? Nothing. Here's our very own Sarah Carter. Take a look.
It seemed very highly politicized as far as the Dems. What was going through your mind during the hearing?
Yeah, our Democratic colleagues, they're the ones who wanted to politicize this hearing. In fact, one of my colleagues pointed out that not one of us had ever mentioned former President Trump's name. It was all my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. I asked some of the witnesses in question who are actually, frankly, getting kind of emotional and upset. The Democrats were ignoring their pleas to listen to them about how unsafe they feel in this city, the fact that they've lost loved ones, or Mr. Alba, who was simply defending himself, got stabbed, and then was getting prosecuted by this district attorney.
These are not political statements. These are just telling their personal stories. And to a person, all of the witnesses' testimony talked about these heinous crimes committed against their family members, losing their loved ones, burying their son. And what did the Democrats do? They smeared them. They said it was a circus. They belittled these witnesses. They said it was a sham. House Republicans focused our questions on crime and focused our questions on the fact that radical District Attorney Alvin Bragg is refusing to prosecute these crimes.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump doesn't prevent crime, has nothing to do with the safety and security of the people in New York. He doesn't even live here. It doesn't make our country safer or a better place. So let's be clear. The left, they're defund, dismantled, no bail laws. They are making law-abiding Americans less safe, less secure. It's a more dangerous environment. And if you don't have law, order, safety, security, you cannot pursue happiness. Take a look at your screen. This was Chicago over the weekend. Typical weekend in Chicago. Hundreds of teens storming the streets in downtown Chicago, breaking windows, blocking traffic, jumping up and jumping down on cars, attacking drivers. And elsewhere in the Windy City, 35 people shot this weekend, 8 murdered, and almost no one arrested. By the way, nobody in the media, if they can't politicize it, they never talk about it. We've been scrolling names of people shot, and killed in Chicago on this program since 2009. Names you've never heard of, never will hear about, because they can't politicize it. A violent brawl at the White Sox game. What a great place to have the Democratic Convention. Perfect fit in 2024. And meanwhile, this was a scene out in California where a huge mob ransacking a gas station near Compton, organized theft, shoplifting, looting, costing businesses $100 billion a year. Is it any wonder that major companies, they are packing up, closing down, leaving town? The American people are also fleeing blue states and cities in droves. California, New York, they're losing around 300,000 people a year. They're saying bye-bye, and they're moving to free states like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. And by the way, Florida gained more than they're gaining like 400,000 people a year. Now, between 2020 and 2022, a whopping 2 million people left major American cities. High taxes, crime, bad schools, a judicial system that favors criminals over victims. Blue states, blue cities, they are broken. Americans are now voting with their feet. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.